Coming up on the October 8th edition of Sports Extra. In football, Giovanni Bernard is making his case to be seen as one of the best backs in the country. Dean Smith said this isn't a basketball school, it's a women's soccer school. We'll show you why. The volleyball team has a chance to spike every opponent for the rest of the season. All that and a lawsuit that could put the NCAA out of business. Sports Extra starts right now.
From the University of North Carolina School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering the full range of Tar Heel athletics, this is Sports Extra.
Hello and welcome to the October 8th edition of Sports Extra. I'm Natalia Perez.
And I'm Jennifer Brodish. It was a great weekend to be a Tar Heel.
As it always is. I'm Sefia Mokpai. Thanks for joining us. The Heels faced their toughest test at home to date, but that didn't stop them as they ran all over the Virginia Tech Hokies 48-34. Mike Rodriguez was there for yet another historic Tar Heel performance.
It didn't look good for the Heels early on. The defense didn't have an answer for dual-threat quarterback Logan Thomas, who nearly went untouched on a 13-yard touchdown run on the Hokies' first drive. But on the very next play, sophomore wide receiver Sean Tapley returned the kickoff 94 yards for a touchdown. It was his first kickoff return for a touchdown in his career. Sophomore tailback Giovanni Bernard says that's exactly what the team needed.
Yeah, sometimes, in life you kind of need a little jumper cable, I guess you could say. And for the most part, Tap was that jumper cable.
After that, it was all Bernard, all the time. He had a career game Saturday, rushing for 262 yards on 23 carries, including a 62-yard touchdown run on the first play of the second quarter. Senior offensive guard Jonathan Cooper says the offensive lineman had to beg head coach Larry Fedora to go for it on 4th and 1.
Come on, coach. Just yelling, let's give us a chance, let's run the ball. It's 4th and 1. Just give us opportunity.
The linemen weren't the only ones blocking for Bernard. Junior quarterback Bren Renner even got into the act. Watch Renner as he throws a block on this 51-yard run. Bernard says he hopes to repay his quarterback for the block soon.
I might take him out to dinner. He's my roommate, so I might take him out to dinner or something. But he did a great job. He's that type of player. He's that type of player to put his body on the line.
Bernard wasn't the only guy to have success on the ground. Junior tailback A.J. Blue had 70 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. As a team, the Heels ran for 339 yards and 4 touchdowns. Senior wideout Eric Highsmith says he has never seen a performance like this.
Not in person, no, only on TV, video game or something, but Gio and AJ Blue and Roma, they great backs.
The defense allowed more points than their first 3 home games combined, but they kept the Hokies one-dimensional, allowing only 40 yards on the ground. Kevin Reddick and the rest of the defense dished out plenty of punishment on Thomas after his touchdown run early in the game. In Chapel Hill, I'm Mike Rodriguez, Sports Extra.
Carolina had 533 yards of total offense against the Hokies. Guys, that's 2 straight weeks with more than 500 yards. The Heels had 575 last week against Idaho.
Yeah, but that was expected against the Vandals. Virginia Tech has a much better defense, historically anyway. They've struggled this season, but I still wasn't expecting the offensive explosion.
Carolina's 48 points are the most the Hokies have let in since they've joined the conference. And you know what? It's the most that they let in any game since 2007.
A career day for superstar running back Giovanni Bernard makes him the winner of this week's offensive game ball. With 262 rushing yards on 23 attempts, Bernard set a single-game record in yards per carry. His 262 yards are the most Virginia Tech has ever allowed to a single back in one game, and marks the first time since 2003 a Tar Heel has rushed for more than 200 yards. Bernard's longest run of the day came on this 4th down conversion that went 62 yards for a touchdown. This is Bernard's first time winning this award, but probably won't be his last. That guy is impressive. But Bernard wasn't the only one involved in the rushing attack. The Heels ran for 339 yards, the first time the team has ran for more than 300 yards since 2004. And those are the 3rd most rushing yards allowed by the Hokies.
But Bernard did the bulk of the work. His 262 yards were the 5th most in school history, behind Derek Fenner, Kennard Martin, Amos Lawrence, and Don McCauley. Bernard had the most yards for a Tar Heel back in a single game since 1988. And Virginia Tech Virginia Tech jumped out to a 7-0 lead on its first drive of the game, but that lead went up in smoke in just a matter of seconds. 14 seconds after the Hokies' touchdown, the Tar Heels pulled a fast one with a 94-yard kickoff return by Sean Tapley. And after that, the Heels never looked back. This is Tapley's first career kickoff return touchdown. You can see Tapley finds a hole right there, and he is gone. Once he hit the second level, no one was going to catch him. Let's take a look at that again at a wider angle. Look at this cutback. This really sets him free. This is UNC's first kickoff return touchdown since TJ Thorpe took one back against Clemson last year. And Tapley and the Heels beat the Hokies at their own game, special teams and Beamer ball. That touchdown was the first kickoff return TD allowed by Virginia Tech in almost 20 years.
That's right. The last time someone ran a kickoff back against Virginia Tech was all the way back in 1993. The Hokies had gone a record 237 consecutive games without allowing a kickoff return touchdown. But thanks to Tapley, they're going to have to start a new streak.
Carolina linebacker Kevin Reddick played a major role for the Heels Saturday against the potent Hokie offensive attack. He's the winner of this week's defensive game ball. Reddick had 7 total tackles in the game, 2 solo tackles, and 5 assists. He also had a half of a sack. You see Reddick and Sylvester Williams bringing down the Hokie QB. This season, Reddick has 11 tackles for loss, 7th most in the ACC, and the 7th most sacks in the conference with 2.5. This is Reddick's first time receiving this award. Hitting Logan Thomas early and often certainly showed him down as the game went on. The Heels had 7 quarterback hits Saturday.
Keeping him off balance certainly is critical to the Carolina victory. I mean, at 6'6", 260 pounds, Thomas really isn't an easy one to take down. But luckily, Reddick was there, and he said it wasn't too difficult.
I mean, I wouldn't have said it was hard. It was just he's a big guy, you know, and you just got to hit him multiple times. You know, once you keep getting wounds on your body, you'll get weaker. So, I mean, I think we hit him a lot of times, and that kind of got him down each time.
Reddick wasn't the only player who showed up for the defense this weekend. Everybody played his part. That's why the Hokies struggled mightily on the ground. Here's this week's hidden stat. Virginia Tech came to Chapel Hill averaging 150 rushing yards per game. Reddick and the defense held the Hokies to just 40 yards on 25 carries. That's a 1.6 yard per carry average. Quarterback Logan Thomas was the leading rusher for the Hokies. He had just 7 rushes for just 20 yards.
We've given out our weekly awards for the offensive and defensive game ball, and now it's time to award this week's Offensive Lineman of the Game. Senior guard Jonathan Cooper started his 41st career game against the Hokies, the most among active linemen in the ACC. Cooper put forth a solid performance, anchoring an offensive line that helped the Tar Heels rush for more than 300 yards. Cooper opened holes all game for running backs A.J. Blue and Giovanni Bernard. This is Cooper's 3rd time winning the award this season, though he knows better than to expect too much praise from week to week.
And
our coach came in with the biggest smile on his face. Never would give me a hug. He gave me a hug today. So that's enough for me. Gio, even Marquise, when they came to me, they're like, it's all on you guys. We thank you. It's on you guys. So that's enough for me. Headline, that would be nice, but that'll do.
And are you ready for basketball season? Because I know I am.
Believe it or not, we're only days away.
Is that a BO?
Me?
Gio.
We'll spend 15 minutes watching online videos like this one.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero ir. No lo puedo hacer.
DMC, life in your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs, just keeping it real.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it goes.
Oh, Mom!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you. Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
It's one of UNC's most anticipated events. Carolina will kick off this year's basketball season in 4 days with Late Night with Roy. The annual event is Friday at 7:30 p.m. in the Dean Dome. Many students are looking forward to the dancing and skits, but most of all, they're looking forward to the first official practice. We know Stuart Scott is looking forward to the first glimpse of the team since the Tar Heels lost 4 starters to the NBA. Harrison Barnes, John Henson, Kendall Marshall, and Tyler Zeller were all picks for the first round of for this summer's NBA draft. Reggie Bullock and Dexter Strickland are the only returning players with starting experience. Last year's star freshman James Michael McAdoo was recently named a preseason All-American by the Sporting News. The sophomore forward is expected to be the first option for the Heels this season.
This year, the women's soccer team hasn't been the unstoppable force that it has been. Will Reimer joins us in the studio with an update. Will?
Jim, the Heels beat Boston College 1-0 Thursday night at Fetzer Field, but Coach Anson Dorrance wasn't too thrilled with the performance.
It was a much tougher feat than the past game against Miami, although the Tar Heels were able to keep the Eagles from scoring. UNC fired 9 shots at goal in the first half, but none of those shots could find the net. The game was tied 0-0 at halftime. That was very stressful for goalie Adelaide Gay.
Well, maybe score a little earlier. It gives me a heart attack.
During halftime, Coach Dorrance encouraged his team to continue piling on the pressure and to be more precise on the attack. Coming back out on the field, the Tar Heels followed his advice. Just 2 minutes after the restart, Kaylee Ohai found Renee Primjai in the box, and Primjai sent the ball under the goalie's hands.
Kaylee got the ball near the corner, and then I was just getting into the box, and she played a beautiful ball right to my feet, and all I thought was just keep it on the frame. Sure enough, it went in.
Able to hold off the fierce Boston College attack for the rest of the game. For the first time this season, Adelaide Gay stayed on the field for the whole 90 minutes, and Coach Dorrance plans on using her as the only goalie for the rest of the season.
She is a very experienced goalkeeper. I think we feel very secure with her back there, and I think she did a nice job today. In fact, we talked before the game about seeing if we could actually get a shutout. What the heck? And obviously that was the margin.
The fans were happy with the outcome, but neither Coach Dorrance nor the players were completely satisfied by how they won the game. The Heels had 13 shots, but only 2 of those shots were on goal, and they had 11 fouls. They know they have to improve over the next few games.
We won ugly a little bit today, so if we can win pretty, that would be great.
And you know, Jen, people were expecting goals to come in bunches now that Kaylee Ohai is back from the Under-17 World Cup, but that just wasn't the case against the Eagles.
But you don't have to score a lot to keep the other team from scoring.
Yeah, that's true, Jen. That was their 6th shutout of the season for the Tar Heels, but Coach Dorrance still wasn't happy with the team's defensive performance. BC outshot the Heels, 6-4 in the second half, and the game was in doubt until the final whistle. And, you know, Jen, the Heels are on the road again this weekend. They'll travel down to Clemson to take on the Tigers at 7 p.m. on Friday. And if you want to watch the game, you can actually catch it online on ClemsonTigers.com.
Thanks, Will. That's Will Reimer reporting live in the studio.
And the women's field hockey team won its 2 games this weekend by a lot. The Heels won their 2 games by a combined score of 10-0. Carolina beat Boston College 4-0. All 4 games came in the last goals came in the last 17 minutes, and Charlotte Craddock led the team with a hat trick. 6 different players scored against Dartmouth in UNC's 6th shutout of the season. Charlotte Craddock led the team with 4 goals this weekend. Kelsey Kolajczyk and Katie Ardrey led the team with 3 assists each. Kolajczyk is the leader for the Heels this season. Her 11 goals are the 2nd most on the team, and she leads the team with 18 assists. Craddock has the most goals on the team with 13. The Heels are 13-1 this season. Their only loss came in the 3rd game of the season at Syracuse. Carolina is 3-0 in the conference. And next up, the Heels is in an ACC game against Virginia at Henry Stadium. The match begins at 1 p.m. Saturday, and you can watch it on ESPN3. Then Carolina has just 3 games before the conference tournament begins in November. And the men's soccer team beat Georgia Southern at home Tuesday 2-0, and Clemson on the road by the same score. The guys have yet another good game.
Shot after shot after shot. The players on the men's soccer team have worked their way up to a 9-1-1 record so far this season. Teams the Heels have conquered include Winthrop, Gardner-Webb, West Virginia, Boston University, Virginia Tech, UVA, Wofford, Duke, that one was sweet, Georgia Southern, and most recently, Clemson. The Heels haven't lost a game at home, and the only game they have lost was to James Madison on the road. Key players have contributed to the success. Andy Craven and Martin Murphy lead the pack with 4 goals each. Jordan Gaffa and Mikey Lopez both have 2. Danny Garcia has helped the team with 5 assists. And although quite pleased with the team's overall record, Coach Carlos Samuano still believes there's room for improvement.
You gotta have everybody on the same page, and it's not an easy thing to do, but it certainly is doable. I think we could do a better job of it, and we're just grinding it out, trying to make that part of our game better.
Carolina hasn't lost a conference game this entire season. Be sure to come out and support the Heels this Tuesday as they take on the Davidson Wildcats at home.
And the Heels play Davidson tomorrow at 7 p.m. at Fetzer Field, but are out of town for the weekend. Carolina plays College of Charleston Saturday in South Carolina. Kickoff for that game is 7 p.m.
The volleyball team lost both of its matches this weekend. Carolina was swept by Florida State Friday and won just 1 set against Miami yesterday. Julian Caldwell joins us live in studio. Julian, the Heels have been swept earlier this year, right?
That's right, Sefe. The Heels had a bad taste in their mouth after starting the season off getting swept at Kentucky, but they responded and have settled into number 5 in the ACC. Let's take a look at how they've done that.
Kills like that one are the reason behind the Tar Heels' impressive 13-4 record this season. The Heels have had a flawless record in Carmichael Arena with the home record of 8-0. With big wins against Ohio, Wake Forest, and Duke already under their belt, these ladies have a lot of confidence. This season, senior Emily McGee has played a huge role in the attack for the Heels, backing up an impressive 162 kills this season. Following her leader, sophomore Chanel Nelson with 138 kills, junior Kayla Behringer with 133, and senior Tia Gaffin with 116. Other key players include senior Cora Harms, who set for more than 400 points, and sophomore AJ Tana, whose 229 digs have saved the Heels from giving away hundreds of points. Although the Heels have been consistent through the season, most recently they've suffered some disappointing losses. This weekend on the road, they fell to Florida State and Miami back-to-back. Even though this past weekend brought trouble for the Heels, Coach Joe Segula still sees the positive in going on the road.
I think it's a good character building. Anytime you're on the road, you have to come together. It allows your team, you're on the road, you tend to bond in different ways because you travel together, you're with each other. So we'll be together. I think, it's like them against us. So we'll have a collective force. We're going to play for each other.
Playing.
Yeah, Sefe, they have Virginia and Virginia Tech in the next 2 games, and those are both teams below UNC in the ACC standings, so those are definitely 2 winnable road games.
Julian, how likely is it the Heels can get over their road struggles for the rest of the season?
Sefe, 4 out of their last 6 away games are against teams that the Heels have already beaten this season. And of course, UNC is perfect at home, so there's a chance they don't lose anywhere for the rest of the regular season.
Well, we certainly hope they don't. That was Julian Caldwell live in studio. Thanks, Julian.
When we come back, he finally had his first major league at bat.
7 years after he saw his first pitch.
You're on your way to meet up with friends, but you can't seem to get anywhere quickly. You don't want your friends to be annoyed, so you text. You're on your way. 5 seconds is the average time your eyes are off the road while texting while driving. Make sure you get where you're going.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
And the World Series is underway.
No, not the Major League version. Tar Heel baseball is about to start. The blue and white squads begin the annual Fall World Series earlier today. The first leg of the series will continue tomorrow at 2:30 and conclude Wednesday at 6. After a day off, the Heels will resume their series Friday at 6, with games Saturday at 11 and Sunday at 1. The championship game is scheduled for October 16th. All games are played in Bosheimer Stadium.
Former Tar Heel baseball player Adam Greenberg finally got his major league at bat last week. He saw his first pitch 7 years ago. That 92-mile-per-hour fastball in 2005 derailed his major league career. But last night, the Miami Marlins gave him a second chance. He signed a one-day contract with the team. Greenberg struck out swinging against Cy Young contender R.A. Dickey, but he still got a standing ovation from fans and high fives from his teammates. The 31-year-old says he wants to use this opportunity to spark his return to the major leagues.
On today's issue segment, journalism professor Charlie Tuggle talks via Skype with sports law expert Michael McCann about the case, O'Bannon versus NCAA. The former UCLA basketball player is suing NCAA, saying that the organization is using players' names, likeness, and images without sharing the profit from it.
How exactly does the NCAA profit? Are they selling mugs with players' images on them, or what?
Well, the NCAA and also its member schools sell licenses in terms of images of players, broadcasts of players to a variety of companies, including any kind of television company that's broadcasting old games, any company that's making video games that purportedly contain college players. So O'Bannon's argument is really focused on what he expresses is an inability of former college players to profit off their image, while another entity, namely the NCAA, but also its licensing partner CLC and its member institutions, earning money off of those same things.
And this case took a big step forward recently. What was that?
Well, earlier this week, a judge in Connecticut ordered that ESPN must provide its broadcasting and licensing contracts since 2005 that contain Division I men's basketball and football. And the issue there is that O'Bannon wants to say, well, look how much money is being made off of us that we're not getting. And if this ever gets to the point where O'Bannon wins the legal arguments and it goes to damages, that information would be very important.
Other former athletes have joined with him, and he actually wants to expand the suit to include current D1 players?
That's right. Last month, he filed for an expansion of the class action to include current D1 players. men's basketball and football. And it will likely take some time before that's ruled, but it just shows that this lawsuit could grow. The threat to the NCAA and also its member institutions is pretty considerable.
We're talking in the billions of dollars.
Yes, in the billions of dollars, no question about it. It would be potentially a devastating blow to the NCAA if, in fact, O'Bannon can win. But I think it's important to stress that no trial date has been set yet. It's unlikely that a trial would happen anytime in the next 6 months. It may not even happen in 2013.
That was journalism professor Charlie Tuggle and sports law expert Michael McCann.
And when we come back, we'll preview this weekend's football game.
We'll tell you which Tar Heels should have a big game and who might have a tough task against the Canes.
The first day stepping on the court, I couldn't keep up. That motivated me to step up my game. When I reach a goal, I set a new one the next day. And my next goal is to go to college. Mastering the court takes persistence. So does getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.
Here we go. We're gonna make some juice.
It's gonna be good.
She's excited. A little bit of kale.
Please don't put this on line.
I'm putting it all over the line.
It's wet. It needs something. No, it'll go.
Don't break my juicer. Looks good.
You ready to try it?
Come on, baby.
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
It's okay.
Okay, all right.
They might surprise you.
Hey, she took another sip. You saw it?
Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
The football team plays away from home this weekend for the first time since the game against Louisville. And the Heels take on the Miami Hurricanes at Sun Life Stadium in Miami. The game starts at 2:30 p.m. and you can watch the game on ESPNU.
If you've seen a UNC football game the past couple weeks, you've seen a lot of scoring. And there's a good chance both teams will put a lot of points on the board this weekend. Saturday's trip could result in another big day for Giovanni Bernard. The Canes have given up more than 200 yards in 5 of their 6 games this season. But Saturday could also be a tough day for Jabari Price, Trey Boston, and the rest of the UNC secondary. Miami quarterback Stephen Morris has more passing yards than anyone in the conference, and he's hungry after going without a touchdown in Saturday's loss to Notre Dame, after throwing 5 in a win against NC State the week before.
And now it's finally time for us to make our selections for the Miami game. I'll start. UNC has been on its game for the past 3 weeks. Miami hasn't lost to an unranked team, but I think we showed against number 19 Louisville that we can hold our own and play at the level of a ranked team. And that was without Giovanni Bernard. I think that he'll make the difference, and the Heels win 35-28.
The Heels are 4-2, so is Miami. Even though this one is on the road, our guys know Tar Heel Nation has their backs, and I think we'll pull out another win. Final score, Heels 34, Canes 27.
When the Hurricanes lose, they lose big. I mean, they've lost 2 games this season by a combined 77 points. 77 points. And we can expect Gio to run wild all over them as he does every game. I have the Heels winning 38, Hurricanes 24. And we were right about last week's VT game. We'll find out next Monday if we're right about this one.
And to conclude this edition of Sports Extra, here's this week's Extra Point. If the Heels beat the Canes this weekend like we all expect them to, Carolina will have beaten Virginia Tech and Miami in the same season for just the second time since the schools joined the ACC. The last time the Heels did that was in the 2009-2010 season.
And that does it this edition for Carolina of Sports Extra. Carolina Week is our newscast program.
Thanks for watching amidst technical difficulties.
Have a great night.
Good night.